I'm a freelance conference interpreter based in Vancouver, Canada, and I recently documented a work trip on a mission of mine for English-French simultaneous interpretation for an international conference. I traveled to a nearby city, which I'm actually in right now filming this intro. We travel quite a bit. Our profession seems to be sometimes veiled in mystery, so I thought I would share what happens behind the scenes, only my own experience, of course. This could differ country to country, assignment to assignment, but I thought I would share in case you're curious, in case you may want to become a conference interpreter yourself. And if you are already in the industry, I'd love to hear your thoughts on if this is different or the same for you. Of course, during the filming of this entire process, I did not reveal any clients' names or any conference names, any specifics. I'm maintaining full confidentiality, which is a key tenet of professionalism in our field. This is solely me documenting my own experience, and only my face will be shown, if anything. If you're interested or curious, I hope you enjoy the video. Catching my train to the airport. It's only half an hour to the airport and $10. So it's really worth it. This is my gate, but I still have 10 minutes to boarding, and I like using every minute as opposed to waiting around. So I'm going to go to the lounge to use the washroom. Maybe get an apple. If there's any food that inspires me, I'll get it. This is such a familiar corridor. I've walked it a million times. It's a lounge. The buffet is not exactly the best food, but no, get some salad. I won't say no to free food. Landed in Vancouver, and now I'm gonna go. My flight is slightly delayed. Gonna go to the lounge to maybe charge my phone.
And now we're waiting for the hydrocarbons, also known as the fuel, also known as the go juice. And if we don't have the go juice, then we don't go. So again, that's where we're at now. Thank you very much for your patience.
Kind of a rainy day. Hi, just got to the hotel. My ears are completely blocked from the flight. I really hope they unblock soon before tomorrow, because I need to obviously be able to hear to work. The first thing I do when I arrive in a sterile hotel room is I make it my own. I just take a half an hour to unpack everything. It's my process, and I always do this. It makes me feel settled. It makes me feel ready. I know where things are. So here at the entrance, I would hang my coat. And I always bring a couple of extra little bags or a canvas bag in case I want to go out and explore later. A little cap, always bring that for sun protection. And then this is where I will get up to be ready in the morning. I try to make it very functional and make the room pragmatic and leave things where I will use them. Something I always bring with me is a pair of slippers in case I want to go to a pool and I just don't like wearing socks. It's great to have that. In the closet, I have hung up my clothes. So it's very important for me to, first of all, so that they're not too wrinkled. And I just like seeing what I'm going to wear, which I have already pre-planned before coming to this trip. So there's zero brain power used to choosing any kind of outfits, and it gives them a chance to breathe. I always bring a scarf in case it gets cold, another little scarf, some masks because there's some COVID resurgence. This is a cake I brought for a colleague, and then I just put my footwear here. And this is my suitcase, which I like to store away so it doesn't feel like I'm living out of a suitcase. And it's basically empty right now. Going into the bathroom. The bathrobe was inside the closet. I put it where I will use it. I usually have an electric toothbrush, but in order to save space, I just use my bamboo toothbrush. This is my workhorse of a backpack. I actually ran into the client contact downstairs and she gave me a little swag bag. It has the agenda. It's always good to try to scout out the room beforehand just so that I don't have to think about where I'm going the next day. I just reduce all of the unknown factors, like a little leather indigenous made bookmark. And there's some local jam, just really cute, but I'm mostly interested in the agenda and participant list. Here, I always put my keys here because I tend to be very forgetful and lose my keys. Here I have my electronics pouch that Patsy gave me for the Cambridge course. I really like the message here. It just gives me power. I always bring like my Chinese anti hot water thermos because I think it's better to drink hot water to hydrate my throat. And I always also bring a coffee cup because coffee is my drug, unfortunately. The first thing I do is also I start charging my electronics. This is for my phone. I always bring a battery pack because the phone nowadays is so essential. This little stand actually, I think it was Andy Gillis who shared the Amazon link when he came to teach at Glendon. I find it really useful to have the computer at more of a eye level. So I have my computer and I'm going to sit down a bit later or maybe tomorrow early to prepare my handwritten cheat sheet, which I always do after I prepare the electronic glossary because it commits it to memory more last minute and it's more recent and fresh. In addition to using Google Calendar, I like to use a physical planner with my monthly calendar just to have it twice to make sure I don't miss any assignments. We're in a wine region, so this hotel provides a wine opener, which is neat, but I don't plan to drink any because I have to work. I kind of miss those big books or having the Bible in a drawer, but now you just scan a QR code. I did bring this in case I have to do some teaching or go do like listen to a webinar. I moved the coffee machine out here. I'm prone to getting sick when I travel, so I always bring some echinacea just as a preventative. This is my chi circulating tea. I just do whatever my body needs in order to keep it healthy so it can function at an optimal state for interpreting, including feeding it with nutritious oily nuts. I'm still recovering from a cold from a month ago, so I know these are not good for you, but sometimes when you really need to block off a cough, like a tickle in your throat, and your colleagues are there and it's really embarrassing, you don't want to cough, I just pop this, and I find that this brand is the only one that really does work for cough suppression somehow. It feels like I'm kind of in a spa because at home, I'm not going to be having this king size bed. This is a Toronto brand, by the way. It has some acid glycolic thing. It's pretty nice, not too expensive. Some medication I have to take at night, and I literally just put things where I'm going to be using them based on where I'm going to be. So I have my pajama or lounge wear. This is one of my favorite t-shirts. My friend gave it to me. I'm not sure exactly what it means. A coffee is sucking you into its alien invasion spaceship, but it helps you reach balance. I already had dinner at the airport, so next up I'm going to go scout out the interpreting room. I'm a little bit on Eastern time zone, so it's already getting late and I want to get a good night's sleep. And then I'm just going to go to bed, just turn off for the day so I can be fresh tomorrow morning. So this is the beautiful view from the balcony, and I will see you later. I have a long day of work ahead, so looking forward. My voice is okay. I don't feel sick. So wishing myself a good day of work. I did some qigong this morning. I drank some water, and now I'm going to go down and meet my colleagues and meet everybody. So I just finished the morning of work. It wasn't as technical as I thought. Good thing I prepared to really help with the acronyms. Working for an audience from France this time, which is quite unusual because usually I work for Quebec. There's also a lot of international delegates, and therefore they speak with quite a heavy accent sometimes. So I think the prep really helped me. And now the client was nice enough to invite us for lunch, even though I have a per diem. But it's a buffet, so I don't feel bad because the food is going to be wasted anyway. So now I'm going to have lunch. Chicken, bok choy, and I'm ravenous, so I got quite a big plate. We are in the traditional territories of the Silix Nation, And here I can really feel the power of nature and just how small and insignificant our little problems are. I'm back from my hike. It was so relaxing, and I got some sushi takeout on my way back. Just something very simple. It's the BC roll. It has salmon skin. I'm going to then shower, do a little bit of journaling. I like to write what I felt I did well, something I could have improved. It says live inspired, so I just put all of my assignments in here, and something nice to read back on, because sometimes when you do a lot of work you start to lose track and the days are blending together, especially when you always come back to the same hotels, and it's just, you look up and in the blink of an eye life just passes by. So it's good for me to document. So I'm going to do that and then probably just call it a night, and tomorrow's another long day. Good night. So I'm back in my room. The conference is over. It's the best feeling in the world when you just finish a conference and the client is happy. Everyone came to thank us. And now I can just relax. I decided to treat myself to a restaurant meal. I do have a per diem that I can use or I can save, but it's always nice to just live in the present moment and enjoy the fact that you're here in a different city. Even though it's a business trip, it's also time for yourself. And then I'm going to write in my journal, because it was actually quite an epic conference. I didn't expect it to be like that, because a lot of conference can feel very generic and you kind of go into an autopilot mode, but this one was really special. Overall, I really enjoyed working with the colleagues. We helped each other in the booth. There was a moment where we had to go into English, and usually when we go into English, everybody just puts on their headsets, so obviously it's a bit more nerve-wracking. However, that's when you need to have teamwork. I sat there with a colleague and I pointed where we were in the slides. I wrote down numbers, and it was overall just teamwork to ensure that we have the best output coming out from the booth. Another highlight for me this time is I was able to interpret one of the French delegates' speech into English. You just feel like you're able to share with the world why you need interpretation. So it's almost like a moment of advocacy. I felt like I was representing Canada, since this was an international conference and the organizing committee was was Canadian, and therefore we, in a way, was part of the Canadian team, and showing our international guests and experience and interpretation is just a small part of the conference, but it still leaves a positive impression for the organizing team, i.e. your client, when you're able to do a good job. So now I can enjoy my evening. Gonna go for dinner, go for a little walk to empty my head, and pack. I have to repack everything so that I can leave tomorrow. And my flight is at 2 p.m. I didn't want to rush, and I have the late checkout, so I can do grasse matinée maybe, or maybe catch up on some work. Just wanted to check in before I close it off for today. Getting myself a crepe for lunch from the market.